What's good, YouTube? Man, we back with another reaction video. We about to react to the game where fans realized Barry Sanders was not human. Lions versus Vikings. All my NFL fans, man, make sure y'all tap in. This is my first Barry Sanders reaction. I don't even know why I should have been on my Barry Sanders reactions, because my rest in peace to my pops. I always bring him up. He was a real big Detroit Lions fan and a real big Barry Sanders fan. So I gotta start getting into Barry Sanders just for him, man. I got to. It's only right. But for my NFL subs and new watchers out there, I'm trying to get my channel to 5K subs. I'm at 4,200. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'm trying to record 200 videos this month. I'm already at 13. I got 13 uploaded so far, and I got eight videos to edit. So make sure y'all tap in, man. I got a lot of content coming. NFL season about to start, so I'm about to be doing a lot of reactions to the games. So make sure y'all tap in, man. Let's get it.
The game of football is often considered a team sport. However, there are always a handful of players who can single-handedly dominate a game. Whether it be a pass rusher who can get at a quarterback at will, or a wide receiver who commands the attention of 3 defenders, these individuals are simply game changers. They command the utmost respect from the opposing teams, but oftentimes still manage to always pull through. And during the 1990s, no player would exemplify this more than former Detroit Lions Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders. Barry was considered the game's most electrifying player, making runs that often had many fans wonder if they would ever be topped. And to very little surprise, the running back would consistently prove to himself throughout his career. To describe Barry Sanders running with the football is to define elusiveness. In his 10 NFL seasons, he probably caused more missed tackles than any running back in history. Barry's powerful legs, superb balance, low center of gravity, and lightning reflexes enabled him to stop on a dime, change directions in an instant, and leave defenders grasping at air. And while Sanders has had many notable games in his first couple seasons, in Week 13 of the 1991 season against the Minnesota Vikings, the running back put on a display that had many fans simply in awe. He would go on to rush for 220 yards, while scoring 4 touchdowns in the process.
4 receptions.
This may pale in comparisons to the all-time most rushing yards in a game list, but the way
Peterson.
Barry dissected the Vikings defense
crazy.
was like watching a work of art. There was no huge 80-yard rush that skewed the stat sheet, but rather, the running back slowly picked away at his defenders with 10-yard rushes one after another. And while Barry has had a handful of 200-plus rushing yard games, this particular game went down as one of his many crowning achievements.
Billy Martin, straight from Brooklyn, better known as Brooklyn. Never taking shorts because Brooklyn's the borough.
Heading into this matchup, the Lions were second in NFC Central.
I forgot Tampa Bay was in the Central. Yep.
Many would argue the 1991 Lions were one of the greatest teams in franchise history. Aside from Barry Sanders, the team also had 4 other Pro Bowlers, including the likes of Lomas Brown, Jerry Ball, Chris Spielman, and Benny Blades. The team started off hot, winning 5 of its first 6 games, but then proceeded to lose 3 of their next 5 games. Therefore, they needed to come out on top if they wanted to keep pace with the Bears and keep their playoff hopes alive. The Vikings, on the other hand, were 6-6 and really had an up and down season. They did, however, come away with a crucial road win in Green Bay the week before, and were looking to use that to make a push for the playoffs, knowing a win at home would put them one step closer. So Detroit traveled to the Metrodome in what was the second matchup between the two teams. Earlier in the 91 season in Week 6, Detroit, while down 20-3, pulled a come-from-behind win late in the 4th quarter with 7 minutes left. Quarterback Rodney Peete and Barry Sanders were the 2 main catalysts in this late 4th quarter surge. The running back was mostly held in the first 3 quarters, but came to life when it mattered most and finished the game with 192 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. And this game likely went down as the greatest comeback in Detroit Lions history. That being said, there was going to be a lot of emotions from Lions players as the week before against the Rams, lineman Mike Utley was paralyzed from what first seemed to be a rather innocuous challenge. Utley was blocking Mike Rocker in the first play of the 4th quarter, and as Rocker jumped up to block the pass, he hit Utley on the helmet, causing him to fall and landing head first. The lineman was paralyzed, fracturing his vertebrae, rupturing a disc, and damaging spinal cord ligaments. So as the Lions headed out on the field, the players all wore the number 60 on their helmets to tribute their teammate. So after the Vikings started the game going 3-0, Detroit took a gamble early in the game as on 4th and inches from their own 42, head coach Wayne Fontes elected to keep the offense in, and backup quarterback Eric Kramer, who was filling in for Rodney Peete after a season-ending Achilles injury, snuck in for a new set of downs. Then on the very next play, Kramer would dish the ball out to Barry Sanders for his first touch of the game, and the running back made a couple nice moves, juking 2 defenders for a pickup of 8. Later in the drive, the Lions offense got into the red zone, and from 1st and 10, Sanders ran to his right all the way in for a 17-yard rushing touchdown. And when looking at the replay, this was Barry at his best. His first move shook Jimmy Williams, and then he proceeded to push off his next defender and scamper in for the score. Detroit would take the early 7-point lead.
Barry was
Eddie Murray
elusive,
knocked in
man.
the extra point kick. Late in the quarter, Minnesota began to start mounting a drive of their own. From 2nd and 8, Rich Gannon made a run down the left for a gain of 13 yards. But then a few snaps later, the quarterback would get popped from behind from Dan Owens and fumble the ball, with the Lions taking over. Detroit was unable to convert the turnover to points and ended up having to punt the ball. In the second quarter, after the Vikings committed their second straight turnover, the offense began to get going. First, a 12-yard run from Herschel Walker, followed by a 23-yard grab from Steve Jordan, set up this clever play involving Rich Gannon to Darren Nelson, who floated a 25-yard pass in the end zone to Anthony Carter to tie the ball game.
Good pass.
On the ensuing kick return, Detroit's Mel Gray returned the ball for 71 yards, setting the offense up in great field position. From Minnesota's 27, Barry got to work. On the first play, after seeing no holes in the middle, Sanders got by a Vikings lineman and proceeded towards the sidelines for a pickup of 8. If this were any other running back, they would have been stopped short and tackled for a loss, but instead, they were made to look like a bunch of hopeless children chasing after a grown-ass man. The Lions ended up having to settle for a field goal after the offense stalled in the red zone. So the first half concluded with the away team up 10-7. The Vikings didn't have much of a run game, and this really limited the offense. On top of that, they needed to get Chris Carter going, as he was the team's best receiver,
CC.
but only had 1 catch for 2 yards. The second half kicked off with the Lions offense out on the field. Sanders' first touch saw him juking his way for a first down after a pickup of 12 yards. Then later in the drive, from the Vikings 27, Eric Kramer did a nice job of avoiding the blitz and threw a pass to Brett Perriman, who snagged the ball for a gain of 21 yards all the way to Minnesota's 5-yard line. However, Detroit were unable to come away with the touchdown after 3 pass attempts and ultimately even missed the 3 points as the kick hit the upright. Later in the third quarter, Barry would snag his first reception of the game after catching a short pass and turning it to a gain of 10. From 2nd and 10, Sanders found an opening in the middle after putting a move on linebacker Ray Berry and ran for a 45-yard touchdown for his second of the game. This gave the Lions now a 17-7 lead.
That boy Barry
Things
was
wouldn't get any better for the home team, as on the very first play on the Vikings drive, Gannon threw a deep pass down the right for Chris Carter, only for it to be intercepted by Ray Crockett. This would mark the 4th Minnesota turnover, and it's at this point when things really started to fall apart for the Vikings. Sanders went to work immediately. First, he grabbed 9 yards on a run through the middle and followed that up with another pickup of 8. Detroit now made its way to Minnesota's goal line, and Kramer handed the ball off to Barry, who probably should have been tackled, but ended up capping the drive off with a 4-yard TD run. The third quarter ended with a score of 24-7, and after both teams exchanged punts, the Vikings soon answered back. From 3rd and long, Gannon threw a 32-yard deep pass down the middle for Chris Carter, who came down with the ball.
CC.
This then set up a 29-yard run from Darren Nelson, with Herschel grabbing the TD on a 1-yard run. With 11 minutes left in the game and Detroit up by 10, they would soon find themselves in good field position after the Lions special teams got the ball to the 40-yard mark. The next play saw Kramer hand the ball off to Sanders, who proceeded to slalom his way 45 yards.
Bro, you so
this
elusive,
run was
man.
truly remarkable when you count the number of purple shirts that had a chance to tackle Barry, but each time they got close, he would just shift to the other direction. This drive would be capped off with Sanders' 4th touchdown of the game, on top of the 220 rushing yards off of 23 touches. With the game out of reach, the Lions would add another field goal for good measure, and Detroit would sweep the season series for the first time since 1962. While Barry has rushed for more yards than the game against the Vikings,
Too
this was
good,
still
bro.
clearly one of the most memorable games in the running back's 10 seasons in the
Imagine
NFL.
if he had a line.
In total, Sanders has rushed for 200 plus yards in a game 4 times in his career and is the only back to ever post 10 consecutive 1,000
that's
rush yard
tough, bro.
seasons to start a career. The Minnesota Vikings would end up missing out on the playoffs while the Detroit Lions edged out of the Chicago Bears for the division crown. The Lions ended up facing the Cowboys in the 1991 divisional game, coming out on top 38-6, and this would mark the last time the franchise ever won a playoff game as they lost the conference championship 41-10 against the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, that was a good video, man. That was a great video, man. Just imagine if Barry Sanders played for like a big market, bro, like a Denver or a Cowboys or, you know what I'm saying, Packers or something like that, bro. That shit would have been crazy. That shit would have been like, that shit would have been cheating, bro. But I got some Detroit subs on here. I got probably a good 20 people that's from Detroit sub to my channel. So I'm pretty sure y'all gonna tap into this. All my NFL fans and subscribers, make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all like the video, comment. It's gonna help me out with the YouTube algorithm so YouTube can push my videos. But we trying to get the channel to 5K subs. I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe, stay tuned. We out.
Great.